Pfizer has oncology trials going on. So this was a AI-powered recruitment trial for oncology. Okay, so only for recruitment, what did Pfizer do? They analyzed the EHRs. EHRs are electronic health record. Like, every hospital have their electronic health record system or medical record system. So they enabled certain commands whenever there is a data, or whenever a new patient walks in at the OPD, their data is collected. So that data is collected and entered into the system, into the EHR. So the AI had certain commands that if you see, okay, now, for example, I have a metastatic breast cancer, HR positive, HER2 negative symptom. I want these patients in my study. So whenever a patient came up and his reports were entered into the EHR, immediately such patients were screened and selected. So that was an AI-enabled recruitment. Okay, so it's a very smart method. So the PI doesn't have to sit with the reports. The complete panel doesn't have to sit with the reports. The sponsor, the medical liaison of the sponsor, they don't have to have a to and fro communication whether this patient is eligible or not, how many criteria they are matching. No. AI did their job very well, and the screening was done in few seconds. So you understand the amount of efforts, the time that was saved for screening these patients. And most important thing, this is all automated. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to fill a form, nothing. It is all automated. And what were the outcomes? You completed the recruitment before time. So the recruitment timelines decreased by 30%. So the most challenging aspect of clinical operations team is that completing the recruitment within the stipulated time, having that patients. Then most important is screen failure and randomized. If the patient is screened, okay, they are taken, but there are high chances, like after some time when the sample goes, like let's take a oncology study, after some time when the biopsy is done, a sample is sent to the central lab, there are high chances that the sample might be a screen failure, the patient might be a screen failure. So this reduces this AI reduces the possibility of such occurrences to minimal things. And most important, if suppose any patient is coming to a hospital, let's talk, like I stay in Mumbai. So let's talk about Breach Candy Hospital in Mumbai. So who will visit Breach Candy Hospital? Of course, people who are local, who are in Mumbai, who can come day in and out to the hospital for their visits. But what if a patient staying in Bangalore or Kolkata, can he come and visit there? No, he cannot come and visit there for the trial. Yes, he might have come there for OPD. He might have given his details. But now I have access to the record which is geographically distributed. And I can select patients through my AI-enabled tool for the population which is geographically evenly distributed. So my AI is designed so smart that it knows that I should not have a concentrated population. I should have a geographically well distributed population in my study. So there are different commands that come in this selection or screening. So then AI does the job for you. So PI doesn't have to waste much time behind it. Okay. Any questions for this?
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, here actually the data validation has to be done properly before feeding to the AI, right? Because if our data set is not proper or if it is having something, yeah, so if we are not adding that properly, so then that can affect the quality of AI output also, right? So that means the things we are feeding means that should be proper, right?
Correct, correct. So whoever is in charge of the EHR data entry at the hospital site, so they have to do their job well, because like A teacher can correct your question paper, your answer sheets only if you write answers, right? So it's that way. So if the data is entered correctly, then only AI can do it. And if you talk about traditional screening, so even if PI is screening this patient, but if we don't have all details, we don't have his reports, we don't have his history, we don't have his lab results, we don't have his vital signs, then is he a potential subject? No, because there is missing data. We don't know. So in such cases, neither in traditional recruitment nor in AI-based recruitment, the patient can be seen. For such patients, we have to exclude.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, good afternoon. My name is Kavya. I wanted to ask, where do you see the limitation of AI in clinical research? Patient recruitment is all becoming robust with AI, but do you see that there can be a limitation for usage of AI in clinical trial, which cannot surpass the manual intervention?
Uh, See, for things like screening, immediate follow up with the patients, or reporting outcomes or adverse events to the investigator, for these all things, AI is the best. You have access to like 24/7 access. You don't have to wait for your visit date, time, go physically. For that, everything AI is best. But there are certain things, like for treatment, you have to come in. You have to come in. You have to get admitted for your series of diagnostic tests, vital signs, or whatever pre-qualifying tests or screening tests that you have to physically do at the hospital. For that, AI cannot do for you. So these are the limitations which will always curtail in clinical research industry. But yes, the things which we can fast pace and which are a challenge for us is screening, recruitment. Because I have I have seen scenarios when I was with IQVIA. I traveled pan India for my oncology studies. I have seen some hospitals struggling to recruit even one patient. So there are different reasons. Like sometimes the resource staff is not very, cooperative. They are not doing the job well. Sometimes the person who takes the source document or the screening data, they have not filled the data properly. So there are multiple reasons which can lead to low recruitment. But your if only thing is that you have to enter the data properly, and then the AI does the job for you. So yes, there are certain limitations where AI cannot do for us, and the other things which AI has enabled for us are wonderful, and it has actually helped the pharma companies launch their drugs in the market pretty in less time. So yes, revenue-wise, it has helped a lot of pharma companies.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And another question while we are at AI is that I'm a student of clinical SaaS programming. With centralized data monitoring involves a lot of data analysis for risk assessment. And I can see that AI can have a big role to play in that. Do you see that AI would have more scope, or programs like SaaS will still hold a place?
So now to tell you each and every platform that I'm using as a centralized CRA. So I'm currently working as a global CRA. I have sites in Italy, Spain, Denmark, Iceland, US, Mexico, Turkey, Argentina. So when I am having access to the real-time data, to tell you each and every software that we are using in the trials is AI enabled. Everything is AI enabled. So uh, now gone are the days when AI was a thing, like, yes, whether it can be instilled and whether it can be used. But now everything is AI enabled, and every software that is coming in the market, even Oracle, every software that is coming in the market is smart enough to give you what you require. Otherwise, no one's going to give you clients.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hope this answers you.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So my next case study would be on RWE. Does anyone know what is RWE?
Real world evidence, right, ma'am? RWE.
Yes. And what are real world evidence studies like? What is this phase basically? Is it phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, or phase 4?
Ma'am, it can be in phase 4, right? It should be an uncontrolled population, and we have to predict, like, we are taking the data from that and all, right? So in
Yes.
phase 4,
Yes. So this is when the drug is already there, launched, and it is there in the market. So this was a wonderful case study done for palbociclib, and I was handling this trial when I was in IQVIA. So this was for male breast cancer patients. So usually the trials are done for female breast cancer patients. So this was a breakthrough outcome that we received from this RWE study. So what had happened was the RWE data, the real world data from the hospital's health records and their insurance claims, they help the pharmaceutical company gain more information about the study drug. And the study drug was Palbo. And this we are talking about Ibrance. Okay, so the chemical name is Palbo. So FDA had initially given approval for female patients, and the drug was there in the market. And very like rare population of male breast cancer patients were tested. But when it was out in market, it was of course prescribed to male breast cancer patients as well. And the data that we received from this RWE, this was a RWE study done. So the data that we received, it was surprising to know that the results were even better than female patients. Okay, so this was a kind of a breakthrough evidence or a outcome of the trial, which was actually not designed for male breast cancer. So वो बोलते हैं ना buy one get one free offer, वैसे हो गया. So it was designed for female patients, but then with rare population of male breast cancer patients were treated in the study in the phase 3. But when it was in the market, it gave wonderful results for male breast cancer patients. So yes, it is a very rare indication for male breast cancer patients. It's a very rare indication. And, getting patients for a rare indication, getting the recruitment for such rare patients, it's already a tedious job for this. And even if you get a patient, patients should agree to participate in the study. Second, they should be available to come in for all the visits, for taking the medicine and everything. They should basically comply with the requirements of the study. So for rare indications, we always struggle. We always struggle in recruitment, but this was a breakthrough. Uh, I can say outcome that we received, and this actually it was like spread like a wildfire in the industry. Like RWE studies are important. That's when RWE gained a lot of importance in the study in the market, because we think that phase 3 ho gaya na, it's tested, but phase 3 is on controlled population. RW is on uncontrolled population when it is prescribed to larger population, and it's not under the controlled phenomenon. So yes, this was a breakthrough study, and you can read about it on LinkedIn. You can read about it on YouTube. There are lots of articles on this study. Can I go to next?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So just now, one of your colleagues talked about risk-based monitoring. So we all know CRAs do monitoring. There are different types of monitorings: site qualifications, interim monitoring, site selection, then closeouts. There are different types of monitorings that the CRAs do. But there are certain scenarios, like we all know about COVID-19. So at that time, we did not have that much time to recruit the CRAs to perform the traditional scheme of monitoring. For such situations, emergency situations, we our industry thought of an innovative way of monitoring only the risks. Okay, we don't want the whether the data is legible, whether it's in the required format or not. No, at that time, since it was an emergency and it was a kind of a emergency, we wanted the drug out in the market really quick. So only the aspects that gave us outcome related to the risks, those were monitored. Okay, so we all know Moderna's COVID vaccine, right? It's mRNA 1273 that came in the markets. Apart from Covaxin, Covishield, we know Moderna. It came up with this vaccine. So what they did, they focused monitoring. What is monitoring? Monitoring is basically that you are just checking whether the protocol is followed or not, whether the patient is treated ethically or not, whether there are any adverse events and the patient has received the treatment properly or not, and whether after the adverse event or the adverse drug reaction, the patient has what was the outcome, whether the patient has recovered and is recruited back in the study, or whether the patient is discontinued. What are the grounds for discontinued? Why? Monitoring is basically the most important concept of a clinical trial. It's the backbone of any clinical study. So your risk-based approach was done by Moderna, and they only focused on few risk data points. Okay, and of course, since everything was shut down, we did not have our traditional office setup to come in the office and see. So everything was centralized, everything was monitored remotely. And what outcome did we have? We all know that we got the vaccine in real time, and a quick approval was given for this because the safety assessment was. We all are aware that in clinical research, whenever the phases are conducted, the first most, what does our ICGCP say? It says efficacy comes later, first comes the safety. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
So if we monitor the safety of the drug, first my half job is done. Second comes my efficacy. So if I'm just focusing on the data points, like I'm not worried about the height, weight, I'm not worried about those data points. So I'm ignoring them, but I'm focusing on the adverse events. I'm focusing upon the outcome after 24 hours of ingestion or taking the drug or taking the vaccine. What was the quality of life of the patient? So I'm focusing only on those data points. I'm not worried about other data, which are necessary in a way, but not at such a level when the drug is required for an emergency. Okay. So yes, this gave us accelerated trial timelines. So you know in how, uh, like in months' time, the vaccine was out in the market without compromising the quality. So risk-based approach means what? Safety, efficacy, quality. If these three things are taken care of, it is nothing but RBM model, that is risk-based. And we have everything done remotely. So that's the beauty. Like you need not be at the site in person, talk to the patient, everything can be done remotely. Only if you focus on certain data points which are important for the primary or secondary endpoint of the trial. You are aware what are primary and secondary endpoints of the trial. So what is the first outcome that you want from the study? That such so and so indication patients should be treated. That is your primary endpoint. Okay. Any questions for this RBM model?
Ma'am, this model is completely remote based, right? Or here all the monitoring tools are remote. So, is there a possibility that measuring at least a few of the parameters can go wrong?
No, dear, this is not a complete remote-based model. Now we have in-person models also. This is a case study because in COVID-19 era, everything was remote.
Yes.
So
Okay.
for this study, this model was approached and it was done completely in a remote manner. But yes, in now whatever trials are there in the market, if there are for any orphan trials, any orphan drugs, yes, there are trials where RBM is a very good approach and it is done in person also. So that's not a limitation. It's not necessary remotely done.
Okay.
Good noon, ma'am. Good noon, ma'am. Ruchira here.
Yeah, hi.
Ma'am, actually, after a certain time of the COVID vaccine was injected, now it is showing the side effects in the old age patients.
Mhm.
So, what are the which we can say that what are the side effects? People are dying in the old age due to the COVID vaccine. Some results have came.
So, see, there are articles published, but do we all know about the scientific relation with
Ma'am,
the
after certain years, 3 to 4 years, side effects are now it is showing. So,
that becomes an RW, right? That becomes an RW because it's an emergency. We don't have that much time to invest, like 3, 4 years or 5 years. You know, traditionally, how much time it takes for a drug to complete the trials and come in the market. It takes years. It takes years. So whenever we are having such emergency, we cannot invest that much time. People were dying. So whatever were the important things, like वो होता है ना, कल एग्जाम है, आपने अभी तक टेक्स्ट बुक नहीं खोला है, तो आपको पता है कि what are the important topics, these are the important things which might come in the exam, and I know this is going to come, there are high chances, important stuff आप थोड़ा revise कर लोगे. It's similar. I mean, this is a very similar example I can relate to you, but this is similar approach. इसमें see, since it is an emergency situation, you cannot invest that much time, and whatever results we found later for these trials, for these accelerated trials, these are a case study now, these are a RWE study now. So there are researches going on whether what exactly happened, were there any other factors which led to this outcome, whether the patient was on any other medication that led to this, how was his quality of life, what was his lifestyle. So there are studies that are still going on. If you will go on clinicaltrials.gov, you will find those trials there. So there are studies still going on this. So there
okay,
might be,
ma'am. Thank you.
yeah. This is a very I can say technical thing that was done by Sanofi. We all know Sanofi. So it was a patient-centric trial design. So they have a very good this thing uh, platform. They had developed a very good tech platform for um, digitally, I can say getting updates from their patients and for every kind of communication with their patients. So this was done in 2022. It was launched, and the name of the platform was Digital Accelerator. Now they have lots of, but this was the first one of its kind patient centric platform that was developed by Sanofi, and this was done to have real time trial updates via mobile apps. There were certain mobile apps login accesses were given to the trial participants, the patients. Then whatever updates, like visit today I had my medication, if I'm supposedly participating in a trial, I have to take the medication at night after my dinner. So after my dinner, it will give me an alarm whether you had your medicine or not. So I'll put it in the app. Yes, I'll just take. You don't have to do anything. As comfortable as possible, the leverage is given to the study parts. You just have to click. So real-time trial update. So a site CRC in a traditional clinical trial, site CRC is sitting at the hospital. She knows a patient is going to come. Patient did not come out. Patient did not come. So she doesn't know na कि last night को medication लिया था कि नहीं लिया था. Only when the patient turns up to the hospital, she will ask, आपने सारे medicines लिए? She will check the accountability of the bottle. So she will check whether कब नहीं लिया, क्यों नहीं लिया. Sometimes ऐसे I have seen scenarios when patients have misplaced the bottles, they have lost, and sometimes when they feel better, some of their family members have also consumed the medication. I have seen such scenarios in my current case in Argentina. I have seen such scenario. So one of the patient's relative also consumed the study drug because it was for a migraine study. And one of the patient's relative also consumed the study drug, and even he felt good. So these are such rare scenarios which happen, and the site CRC will know only when the patient comes. But क्या होता है? The patient has to remember everything. वो last 3 weeks या last 3 months के बाद visit के लिए आ रहे. So they should remember everything. What if I don't remember? I will not inform to the site CRC. I'll say, okay, I don't know, कहीं गिर गया होगा, पता नहीं. But when it is real time basis, I know a pop-up is coming. And if I don't fill the response over there as yes or no, probably yes. If I fill as yes, it's okay. If I don't fill it, if I fill it as no, immediately I'll receive a call from the PR or from the site CRC. So it's that patient centric. You understanding? So immediately, same day, same time, communication can be built with the patient to remind them, oh, you have not taken the study drug. Why did not you take? What was the issue? Whether you had any other event or what was the reason? Okay. So this was a very good platform, and now they have outsourced this platform to other medical companies also, and it's really a booming platform. So your educational resources like the patients, whoever participates in a clinical trial, they always have this in the back of their mind that whether this will work out for me, whether I will have any adverse event, what if I die, what if I am hospitalized. So they always have a negative thing in their mind. So understand that, oh, we are not just putting anything, mixing and just giving you. No, there is a series of research that has been done. Phase 1, phase 0, phase 1. So there is a series of research that has been done, phase 1, phase 2, and then it's been administered to you. So you can read all that research, you can read the outcomes. So for their, I can say, their educational purpose, so that they do not drop out from the trial. This was a very good thing that the patients, whenever they had any doubt, they just have to read it. So less interaction between the patient and the site CRC or the investigators. So if ever they had any doubts, and everything was covered in the information card, but still if they had any doubts, they are always welcome and speak to the site CRC or the PI. So this was one of its kind digital platform invented by Sanofi. Then we have the integration of variables. So I did talk about this, and the most famous, we all know Apple. Apple smartwatch. I am sure many must be wearing right now, right? So Apple was keen to participate in a study with Stanford. We all know Stanford University. So Stanford Medicine conducted a study with Apple. It was a heart study, and it was done for which indication? It was done for atrial fibrillation. Okay. And can you imagine what was the population that was recruited in the study? It was over 4 lakh participants that enrolled only via a mobile app. No publicity, no posters, nothing like that. Okay. Only through a mobile app, 4 lakh participants were ready to participate in the study. And what did the watch? We all know that it does it. There are now many smart watches in the market which does that job. So that time, if Apple was the only one, it detected irregular heart rhythms. Then whatever, I have a analysis with me. Okay, so today 3 patients or 3 enrolled subjects, they reported irregular heart rhythms. Okay, so real time cloud में update मिल गया मुझे कि 3 patients को irregular heart rhythms है, collected remotely. Patients को आना पड़ा नहीं. Patients are sitting at their whatever place they are, and still the data is with the sponsor company. And what was the outcome? Demonstrated feasibility of large-scale remote monitoring, valuable insights into atrial fibrillation prevalence. So I know that these 3 patients will have the need to undergo atrial fibrillation treatment. I know. So I know कि US में अभी suppose 10 lakh watches sold out है, उसमें से 50,000 people have enrolled for my study. Now out of those 50,000 patients who have recruited in my study, some 70 or 80 people have, I received the data that they have irregular heart rhythms. So I know I have to contact them. I know I have to contact them for participating in the atrial fibrillation study. So such a beautiful way of screening. And when I am telling you that, see, even your device does show you that the heart rhythm was irregular. So when I'm telling you, oh, your irregular heart rhythm was detected, and so other reports and this, so we will have to take it forward. So you will be taken to the next. The patients are also ready, right? So this the it has brought everything. It has brought everything possible so beautifully. So this is one of the studies where Apple has contributed actually atrial fibrillation study. Any doubts on this?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And the most important trial design, this is adaptive. We know what do you know about a study design? So we know that study design is something which is already decided. Crossover होगा, ऐसे होगा, इतने visits होंगे, इतने ही patients चाहिए हमें, जैसे we require 200 population, okay, globally. So this is all decided, pre-decided in the protocol, correct? That is what is our traditional trial design. Everything is written in the protocol. Now we in clinical operations, we do face challenges meeting the designated amount of patients in the trial. It's very difficult to meet that designated amount of participants in that span of time. Okay, and then also managing the discontinued patients, managing the dropouts, having the randomized. वो randomized patients मुझे 200 चाहिए. आप screen करोगे 1000, but कितने dropout होंगे, कितने screen failure होंगे, कितने discontinued होंगे. But I need the health analysis data of 200 patients, जो मेरे last randomized patient. So that a very good approach was done for a glioblastoma trial. So it was a oncology or cancer trial. The drug was AZD 1390, and the sponsor company is AstraZeneca. Okay, so it was done in such a way कि okay, first patients आए, phase 3 के visit 1 के लिए आए, whatever data we collect phase 3 में visit 1 के लिए आए, then visit 2 के लिए आए, visit 3 के लिए आए. So interimly the data is collected and analyzed on spot. Okay, and now basis the interim data, basis the data. Now if we are seeing high number of adverse events, if we are seeing high number of ADRs, then we are changing our trial design. Okay, so you cannot do it in traditional protocol. Protocol में जो confirmed trial design होता है ना, you cannot do it in that way. In that trial design you cannot do. If at all you have an adaptive trial design, if it is mentioned in the protocol, then you can change your trial design based on the interim data that you receive whenever the patients are reporting the outcomes in their visits. Okay, so what did this do? It prioritized effective therapies, it dropped ineffective ones. So whatever data is not proving good to you, we have dropped that. Like for example, if you are seeing lot of drug interaction between, suppose, paracetamol and AZD, okay, so उसके ऊपर then next trial design में changes करेंगे, randomization करेंगे. Okay, patients who have consumed paracetamol 6 hours prior, patients who have consumed paracetamol 2 hours prior, उसमें वो change करेंगे. They will keep changing the trial design. This is called adaptive trial design, and it's a win in the market right now, because it's helping you create multiple results in one study. So you're understanding how many results you're getting. As and when the reports come, you can change your trial design as per your requirement. So this has given you faster identification of effective treatments, because I know I do not have to sit till I recruit my all 200 patients. No, my first 10 patients are recruited. I have seen this. I can change my trial design. If I see that there are a lot of adverse drug reactions or adverse events, I can change it. I can change the dose. Like initially, if my dose was BID, morning and night, now I'm changing my dose to once. Okay, so once in night, or maybe preferably once in morning. So I'm changing the dosage. So you understand what it does. Adaptive trial design is something that will help you create results as per your requirements in a very quicker way. You don't have to sit with your 200 patients and then amend the protocol, take the all types of approvals, regulatory approvals, and then series of approvals from your sites, from the health authorities, and then again change the design. No, there's a lot of time that is wasted, and then money also, because every ethics committee submission or approval does take a lot of money for the ethics committee meetings to be conducted to discuss your protocol. They charge a very good amount. So you see, there is a lot of money that is saved, there is a lot of time that is saved, and then you can change the trial design and get your desired outcome in a very short time and in a very fast paced mode. Even remotely it is possible. So of course this has reduced the cost, like I said, and patient exposure to ineffective therapies. If the therapy is not working for you, okay, fine, we are chucking it off, we are not going it ahead. Then faster identification of effective treatments. If I know that this treatment is working, so okay, I'm going ahead with. If I know this treatment is not working, okay, stop it off. I don't have to wait till my 200 people are recruited in the study. So that's how an adaptive trial design is working. And currently, I can say 90%. I don't know like why, but still there are some traditional trial designs still in the market. Maybe some old studies that are still there, but 90% designs are adaptive trial designs by ruling pharma companies, Novartis, even Zydus, Merck, Mankind. There are these are having all kinds of adaptive trial designs in the market, right? So it's a very good trial design, and this can be a very good example or a case study you can talk about. Any questions on this?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
Ma'am, actually, I have a question. I don't know whether it is a silly doubt. Yeah, but still, is like I feel that it will be difficult for the regulatory body to monitor these type of trial designs, right? Because in at times we have to change the dosages frequently, or some changes have to be made during the trial design, and we are not going for an approval, right? So, is it difficult for the regulatory body to have a check on this?
See, actually speaking, it's not that way. See, you are conducting your phase one, phase two. What are phase one studies? What are phase one basically?
We are checking for the safety of the drug.
Hmm. What are those titration studies? What are those phases?
Yeah, ma'am, we are like we are doing two type of studies. It can be the single ascending dose or the multiple ascending dose, and we are checking the dose response relationships and all, and that drug interaction in different types of dosages, and yeah.
Okay. So see, phase 2A, phase 2B, those titration studies are already done. Before you enter phase 3, you have to do your phase 2. Okay. Now,
Yes.
based on the results of phase 2 only, you're going to phase 3. But the population for phase 2 that you selected is nearly in hundreds. Okay.
Yeah.
So it that okay, 5 mg dose is enough. 5 mg dose is enough. Whatever population you selected, it might have shown you for those 100 population that 5 mg dose is enough. But when you move, like I said, example of RWD for male breast cancer, when you move in a larger population, it tells you that no, that was for 20 patients, it showed 15 are having a good positive effects. Maybe five patients did not show positive effects, but 15 showed. So we have to look after the positive outcomes and the safety, of course. But when you're moving to thousands, at that time it is telling me that 5 mg is okay, but I need to accelerate the dose. It's not giving me that desired amount of endpoint. Maybe some habitat conditions, people living in cold countries, people living in Asians, Caucasians, they have a different habitat, maybe because of that. So when you are exploring in a large number of population, this is something that is bound to happen, and this is a problem which was already there in the system. Okay, this was already there, but because phase 2 was already conducted, we have to stay on phase 2 studies and then go to phase 3. We cannot go back to phase 2, right?
Yes.
Right, you cannot go back to phase 2. But now in adaptive trial design, there the protocol is designed in that way that it mentions that whenever the drug is tested on so many on this phase, this population, for example, say 60,000, 50,000, the drug is tested on 50,000. If the percentage, we say a mean, if the percentage of this percentage 98% have reported this outcome, 98% are reporting as positive, then it's okay. If 50% are reporting positive, 50% are reporting not so very effective, you have to go for a second dose, then you will have to adapt. So what's the point of sitting on that 5 mg only? This is why many trials fail. This is one of the prime reasons why many trials have failed to give you the desired output. To give, when the data is submitted to the FDA says, but efficacy level to utna hai hi nahi, but you
Yes.
have much of time. So when you go to the last table and then come back saying, oh, everything failed, it's better you change it when you are doing it interimly, correct? So this
Yes.
is the whole idea behind adaptive trial design. You need not wait till you complete the approvals, get the get the report from the FDA, whether what is the report. And FDA, I am telling you, is very strict with regards to safety and efficacy. First thing is safety, second thing is efficacy. So it is very strict. If it is not going to give you that desired amount of efficacy, it is not coming in the market. So then again, you will have to design another study, start over again. So this approach is always better. And hence this approach has come in the market. So this was an issue earlier, and hence this is the solution now, which has come up in the market. So when we are coming up with this approach, yes, the ECs are informed through the protocol that we have adaptive trial designs. If certain amount of patients do not give me the required outcome, the dosage will be changed either plus or minus. These all required parameters are always mentioned in the protocol, and the reference studies, whatever studies you do, phase 0, phase 1, these all are attached and given to the regulatory authorities to read on and understand and give approval. So yes, that's not an issue for the regulatory approvals.
Ma'am, how are the regulations different for adaptive trial designs?
For adaptive trial designs, one thing that is going to be changing is the dosage or the population, or I can say the number of the participants. These three parameters can keep changing. So the health authorities or the ECs or the IRBs, they are informed in the ethics committee submission that these things will be done, and but it will be done only and only basis the safety and efficacy of the subjects are detrimental. Then, so the ECs, they are doing continuing review, yearly review of the studies. We all are aware, right? It's not that एक बार approval ले लिया तो done. No, all ECs or all healthcare authorities, all IRBs, they do your yearly review. Annual review is done, and they do check the interim analysis of the study. So if they have any questions, they will raise, and it's the responsibility of the sponsor company to answer those queries and get the approval if at all they are flagging any rejection, if at all. Usually it doesn't happen, but it is the responsibility of the sponsor company to give them the query response. Okay.
So it's a more proactive process during the trial, and no key differences in regulation in comparison to other trial designs.
Yes, yes. So here, whenever there is an adaptive trial design, see, everything is mentioned in the protocol. So it's protocol is the Bible. So it has to be like everything that happens in the study has to be compliant to the protocol. So protocol needs to be designed properly, and if protocol is mentioning every detail of the trial design of the modifications, then the ECs do not usually take any objection unless and until there is any harm to the patients. So for that, the sponsor company always takes care. So even for them, it's a big thing that the patient should not have any safety concern. After doing all safety trials, only this thing is started, right? Phase 3 is started. So yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions?
Ma'am, as this trial is for glioblastoma, right? If a patient is having multiple primary cancer, then that patient can be included in the study.
So dear, for this, we'll have to check the inclusion criteria. Now, I am not completely aware whether they had multiple tumors as inclusion criteria. It depends upon the inclusion criteria also. Also, patients who have undergone chemo or radiation might not be eligible for the study. So you have to think about this based on the inclusion criteria, dear. So if your inclusion criteria tells you that yes, multiple tumor patients are eligible, then yes, they are eligible.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any more questions? Like generally, not
Yes,
really. Please. Yes, yes.
From your point of view, challenges we face as a CRA in that organization, like what are the difficulty we face, or what are the expectations from us if we work as a CRA?
Okay. Good question. So when you work as a CRA, basically a CRA is kind of, um, the most important first person to take the credit and the first person to take the blame is a CRA. It's a very simple way I can explain you. So CRA challenges that we face. Most important challenge now, if I have to talk about Indian studies, challenges that we have to face is the sites do not cooperate the way we want them, because see, at the end of the day, we have to think, each and every person participating in the study has to think that once this drug comes in the market, Might be some of your family members, your near and dear ones are going to be prescribed on this. Okay, so think when you're working research faculty, we are having a big responsibility on our shoulders. Whatever data we are analyzing, whatever work we are doing, it is for the benefit of a certain population who are already, suffering from some disease or some ailment. So we are doing it for their betterment. So you have to understand that. If the site staff is not very proactive, we face challenges. If the investigators do not screen the patients properly, we face challenges. And hence, there is burden actually on the investigators because they have their a lot of patients running in the OPDs, especially for oncology trials and cardio trials. They have lots of patients to see day in and out. I have seen them in the OPDs for 14, 16 hours. Uh, so they have a huge responsibility. And the first thing is that I have to see my patient. I have to first, you know, uh, consult my patient. Research is okay. Second thing, priority second, the research. But this is also equally important, which may be because of lack of time and the schedule and India being densely populated. This is a issue with the investigators and the sites. Ek akela CRC is taking the burden of multiple trials at that site, multiple regulations, submissions, approvals, dealing with multiple CROs, with multiple sponsors. वो बहुत burden है. So because of the population that we have, there's a lot of burden on the sites, I feel. So challenges that we face are usually the lack of communication between the sponsor and the site, or the CRO and the site. So if if something can be done from the hospital's end to increase the manpower at the sites, they can do even better, because we see patients who come in for the visit. Ideally, within 3 to 5 working days, the data should be entered in the database, but for months, it is not entered. There are queries sitting and those are not answered. Some minor things pending in the database, but these are not answered. So when we are having the interim reports running, no? So if the data is not legible, if the data is not error free, you cannot analyze it. So that becomes a screen failure for us during uh, analysis. So this is the major challenge that CRAs face. And if I talk about global studies, so for global studies, the major issue is that we are sitting at one place. I'm remotely handling, as I told you, 7, 8 countries I'm handling. But I don't know, when a site CRA goes there, what is he seeing? Whether he has seen, like, अगर कुछ temperature excursion देखा है उसने, तो उसने वो नोट करके लिया है कि नहीं लिया है. उसने देखा होगा कि हाँ, ये तो 20 to 25 degrees में ही होना चाहिए, but it is coming in some 18 degrees या 16 degrees. So if even though if उसने देखा है, लेकिन क्या उसने वो note down किया है? That's always a concern for us when we sit remotely and do the monitoring. For that reason, it's little difficult for us. Otherwise, I think major challenges, there are nothing apart from the communication with the sites and the PIs. That's the major challenge that we have.
Ma'am, and from your point of view or your experience, what are the huge challenges that pharma industry huge challenges that pharmaceutical industry is facing in this generation, means after so many of expertise and all the technical things?
Okay. So the challenges that pharma companies are facing is that it wants to launch their drug first in the market. Now I know, if you must have gone through the news recently, in this week only, we got FDA approval. Zydus got FDA approval for Ansoplast. So we know there are 10 other companies who are trying hard for their FDA approvals. So we got the approval for phase 2 to conduct the phase 2. So I know 10 other companies are in the race to conduct the trials for Unsoclast. The major challenge here is, completing the trial as fast as possible with as less revenue invested as possible. And we know now the systems and everything are AI enabled, but the cost that it takes to buy each and every software, to outsource certain activity as a pharma company, when I have outsourced certain activities like DM to my other organizations. So I know, like for Tech Observer, we do our DM through Tech Observer. So I know the amount that they charge is increasing rapidly because of the use of AI tools. And hence, I want my drug that speedily launched in the market. But there are so many competitions in the market. So, and the change of regulations, right now, because there are so many researches conducted, especially in India now, India being a hub for clinical trials, and the pharma companies, majorly, uh, every company, major pharma companies into clinical research. Initially, it was not that way, but now every major pharma company is into clinical research, and everybody wants their drug in the market as soon as possible with as minimum cost as possible. So that's a big challenge. And bringing the AI tools, yes, it is convenient, but yes, it takes a lot of revenue. So yes, that's a challenge.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Any more questions or any feedback or anything? One thing I would like to always tell you, uh, always follow the thumb rule of clinical research. Thumb rule of clinical research is one thing only. If it is not documented, it did not happen. Whatever you're communicating with, whoever you're communicating, either be a site CRC, either be a pharmacist, either be a randomization technician, whoever it might be, always document it. Always document your communication. That serves. I have seen FDA asking for communication mails regarding certain facts, whether this was communicated to the site. Okay, what was the mode of communication? We know WhatsApp and all. Nowadays, we very conveniently use WhatsApp for such things, for communications, to ping the site CRC. अच्छा patient आया था क्या ये हुआ? No, that's not the official mode of communication. You cannot attach a WhatsApp message in FDA's submission. So everything that you communicate needs to be documented. If one single query goes unanswered to the FDA, it creates a very, very negative impression to the FDA regarding the sponsor. So I, being working with the sponsor company, and my 2 drugs are in pipeline for the major milestone right now, where we are approaching the FDA approval. We are expecting it for phase 3. So I have answered such queries where such communications were requested, and I have to attach those communications. So whatever you communicate, always document it. That's a thumb rule of clinical research. Everything, each and everything needs to be documented. If it is not documented, it did not happen. Right?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
Ma'am, if you are more dependent on AI, you already told that it is more convenient for us to use the AI tools and all for clinical research, but it also it can cost more, right? So, my question is there an effect of that on the price of the drug in market?
See, price of the drug, yes, yes, yes. See, if you to talk about in a simple language, if at all you are a home baker if you're buying things to buy, what you will buy? You will buy the ingredients, the flour, the sugar, whatever, eggs or whatever, vanilla, whatever ingredients. You will bake it, you will decorate it, you will sell it. But will you sell it at the cost that you have bought the ingredients? No, you need a
No.
profit. You have to put in your labor cost also, whatever electrical equipments you have used, everything. And when you are working in a trial, there are multiple vendors that are associated with the trial: shipments, logistics, temperature ones, the temperature documents, each and every device that is used, each and every facility that is used for storing, for uh, for kind of each and everything, for dispensing, randomization tools, every software that we use, that software has an amount. So I, as a sponsor, when I have 10 softwares to pay for, I will have to take that into account, right? And I cannot
Yes.
drug for a very low amount where I am not even covering the cost. So yes, it does affect and it should affect. So
Ma'am,
that's what.
actually, we can also reduce the number of employees, right? If you are using some tools and or we can compensate likewise, right?
Oh no, please don't say it. Then we all will be gone.
Ma'am, actually, I thought from the
Yeah.
like if you are thinking from the company point of view, they can do that also, right?
See, as per my knowledge, we are already having less headcount, We
Ah,
have
okay.
employees everywhere. I would say there is hardly anywhere where you will see employees sitting. Everywhere, everyone is overburdened with their work. So don't worry.
Okay.
Everyone is given that much work that, you know, the company will never feel. Actually, a
Yeah.
person has a job for two. And I've seen it everywhere. All the organizations that I've worked, I've seen it everywhere. So never that.
Okay. Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, I
Hello, ma'am.
hope you enjoyed. Yeah, yeah, please.
The Usman this side, ma'am.
Yes, tell me.
Ma'am, my general concern was that for such scopes and these departments, why we can keep only the preference for the pharmacy background students, ma'am.
For which department?
For such departments, we can we have to do like we should prefer only pharma background students for that.
See, for jobs like where you need uh, satirical knowledge about clinical terminologies, about the um, understanding of basic concepts of medicine. Yes, such departments do have openings only, should have openings only for pharmacy graduates or doctors. But the problem persists that no, people can be trained. Okay, so not everyone is a B farm, not everyone is an M farm. But what about the population who has done like masters in clinical research and they want to enter clinical research industry? So what about them? So they should be employed somewhere, right? So I think each and
Yeah, ma'am.
everything be trained. But yeah, for the there are certain designations or there are certain departments like the medical monitoring team. It cannot go without a doctor. Okay, so even a B Farm person cannot work there. So medical monitoring team, statisticians mandatorily are doctors or pharmacy graduates. So their non-medical person cannot be employed. So certain
No,
scenarios are there where only the designated or the required population is required in the workforce. Otherwise, that's not an issue.
okay.
Everything can
Thank
be
you.
trained. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Uh, Hi. So I had a question regarding how are these adjustments made in the trial? I'm not very sure about that, but can you explain that again?
Assessments with respect to what? About the adaptive trial design we're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So see, just to talk about an example, like I mentioned earlier, if at all my dose, my study drug dose, 5 mg, like I mentioned earlier, if 5 mg is not giving me the desired outcome, if it's not giving me 99% efficacy, so you know what is the efficacy percentage required for any drug approval? Anybody has any idea? What percentage is approved by FDA? Anybody has any idea? Okay, no problem. So the desired percentage is anything about above 80%. Okay. So if the FDA wants efficacy level above 80%, and if my drug is giving me 74%, 75%, is there any point of going ahead with the submissions? No. I know it's a clean sheet rejection from the FDA. So uh, in the adaptive trial design, the protocol is tailored in such a way, or it is customized in such a way that you have the design mentioned, predetermined in the protocol, that if at all the study interim analysis doesn't give me 80% plus efficacy, or if it doesn't provide me the safety efficacy of 90% above, then my trial design will be changing. If, for example, for efficacy level, if I'm not attaining 80% above, my dosage will be increased from 5 mg to 7 mg to 10 mg. So such certain things are predetermined in the protocol, and as I said, it is a adaptive design. So for this, you need not take frequent EC approvals or FDA approvals. You can change the protocol because it's an adaptive paradigm and it's mentioned and in the protocol. And whenever you take the health authority approval, so it is pre-informed to them that we are having adaptive trial design approach. So we are going to change the dosage or the population uh, with as per the interim data that we procure from the sites or from the population. So this will be done if it is documented already, and if it is coming in the safety profile, if it is coming in the efficacy profile, then there is no restriction on that. So
So,
other
like, suppose the drug is effective, like, let's say 90%, but then after a few years of consuming the drug, there are certain off target effects or certain side effects, so to say, right?
Mhm.
So, for that case, is there any time point after which it is tracked that, the patient is having certain issues? Because suppose we are going through the same design of adaptation, but these effects can catch up few years down the lane. So in that case, how are these looked after?
for chronic effects, if you can talk about chronic effects, till the time the trial is going on, if in that period of time, if such outcomes are not reported, or I can say we did not have any such outcome reported by the site. Let's say migraine as a adverse event for glioblastoma. Let's say it is an example. Okay, so let's say it was not reported by any of the sites. Okay, but when it is out in the market now, after chronic administration of the drug, now it is giving me a migraine, and it is reported by multiple patients. Okay, so now this, yeah, sorry. So yeah, so now the drug is in the market. Multiple patients are reporting migraine as an adverse event or adverse drug reaction after the drug is administered. So there is a safety period once the drug is out in the market. I am sure you must be knowing it. It is some 5 to 10 years. It changes for the level of the drugs. If it's a life-saving drug,
Like
the,
post-marketing feedback, right?
yeah,
If I'm not wrong.
even after post marketing feedback, there is certain timeline for the drug whenever it is there in the market, because it's a novel drug. So whenever there is the drug is there in the market, the patients are consuming it in different habitats in different seasons. Like for some drugs, in summers I will feel acidity. In winters, I might not feel the acidity. So as per the change of the seasons, it will give you the outcome. So it happens. It happens. But is it is it something that is life threatening? So whatever outcome that you are saying, it will give after chronic administration. If the outcome is life threatening, serious, gives you hospitalization or chronic malfunctioning or abnormality, then only FDA puts a rebound on that drug and asks to give the safety data. So that's what we know, the department pharmacovigilance. We all are aware. So that's where the pharmacovigilance department comes into role. And this data, if at all found life-threatening, permanent abnormality, any such thing of serious side effects, then the drug is called out from the, and we know such drugs that are called out from the market. So yes, this can happen.
Okay, thank you so much.
You cannot conduct a trial for 10 years on one patient. Is it possible? It's not possible. But we know that when the drug is out in the market, the patient might consume it for 10 years. Okay. So like, for example, I am a thyroid patient. So I have to take my thyroid pill every day morning. So it's a lifestyle that I have to follow. Okay. So when a trial of thyroid was done, the patient was not taking it for a lifetime, correct? So the patients were consuming it only for that dedicated timeline. So now when it is in the market and if it is showing me any side effects, then the drug can be recalled based on the outcomes, whether it is serious or not. If it is not that serious, then it will be put as a disclaimer on the drug, or when during prescription, training will be given, and health authority information guideline is circulated and announced by FDA, that it can also give you certain headaches or acidity. So this is the new side effect that has come, but it is not serious. Okay, and it can continue in the market. But if it is serious, it will be called out from the market. Okay, I hope I have answered it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, any more questions? Okay, so yeah, I am active on LinkedIn. You can reach me on LinkedIn if at all you have any doubts, if you have any questions with respect to the anything, like anything with respect to the interviews or anything. If you are facing any challenges, like you want to know certain things, I'm active on LinkedIn. You can message me there. I have also mentioned my email ID. You can mail me there, and I'll try to revert as soon as possible to you. I hope I have answered all your questions, and I hope that this session would be something you would always remember, and it has been something which you have not heard of and something that you have gained insights of. So I hope I have been productive today in
Of course,
informing.
ma'am. Yeah, Dr. Nivedita, ma'am, thank you so much for joining us today. Indeed, your insights were very valuable, and I know, I mean, our students learned a lot from your experience. And your
Thank you.
advice will have a lasting impact on their career journey. So thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope to see you again in the future, ma'am.
Yeah, sure. It would be my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for
Thank you so much.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you provide your LinkedIn ID?
LinkedIn ID, no problem, guys. I'll be providing you in the community group also. You can follow Dr. Nivedita, ma'am, there.
Sure.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Have a very nice day. And thank you, students, for your time and joining the session. I hope you have, learned a lot from this session. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Good day. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Phone này đừng có buông à?
Thank you.